And welcome to day one of the Million Maker Business Blueprint webinar. In this particular webinar, and for this week, we are the Million Makeover, Marketing Makeover. So, the $1 million Marketing Makeover. And so, in these 3 days, we have a lot of information cram packed. You're going to want to make sure that you grab a journal or something to take notes on. You can also type your notes into the chat so that it also helps everyone else follow along. And then as you go back and look at it, you can then go back and think about those too. So today's focus is the number one thing that you need to become a successful CEO. Now, for some of you, you might be thinking, like, yes, I want to be a CEO of my own business. And some of you all might be in the beginning phase. Some of you might be in that solopreneur phase. Or maybe you're almost there and you're just still kind of on the fence or just haven't crossed over that line yet. So, we're going to be talking about what is that number one thing that you need. But as we start, you might have seen this tagline, solopreneur. And if you're not sure what a solopreneur is, it's an entrepreneur that's trying to do everything themselves. I think most of us start out that way, and a lot of us get caught up in that. And there's a little bit of confusion on when do we start to hire out? When do we no longer do it all on our own? And what's the difference of doing it all on our own versus having people that are working for us and being the CEO? So I want you to imagine all these top Fortune 500 companies and the CEO of those companies. Maybe you work for a corporate company now and you imagine the CEO that you're working for. Now we can think of, I'm sure, some CEOs that don't do it well, as much as we can think of some that do it well. And we can begin to think about what kind of CEO do we want to be? Now, to be a CEO, what is that one thing that you really need? Well, we're going to get to that later on. But first, let's start with introductions. And go ahead and type in the chat where you're from, who you are, what your business is, and let's go ahead and get this conversation going. This is a great time to not only promote yourself, but to also talk about what are your struggles and what is it that you're feeling. Are you really still stuck in that solopreneur phase? Are you already, like, maybe you've hired your first VA and you're starting to get some assistance? And maybe you're still lacking some of that clarity. So clarity is our big word for the day. Now, we've talked a little bit about the solopreneur and the struggling and the trying to do everything yourself. But what really genuinely happens is we're overcomplicating our business in the beginning. And I was just on the phone with someone doing a consult, and I find this is true with almost every single person I do a consult with, is that we're trying to do far too much in the beginning. We're trying to do far too much in the beginning. We are trying to compare ourselves and recreate what it is that the people that already are having the $1 million business, we're trying to compare ourselves to them. Now, there's a difference, right? We want to create a $1 million business. You probably are here for that reason, right? Or maybe even want a multi-million-dollar business. And we're striving for that. So we're trying to mimic what other people are doing. But we're getting caught in this perfectionism and we're not honoring where we currently are. And when we do that, we end up skipping the foundational steps, which is creating clarity. Okay, so if we are skipping those foundational steps, I'm sure we've all heard the metaphor of building your house on sand versus building your house on a solid foundation. What do you want to last longer? Not only that, but we can also get really consumed in the busyness, and we're doing all of these tasks all the time, and we're really struggling in that focus and clarity of what we need to do next. So if you find yourself signing up for all these freebies all the time, and you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, or you're trying this marketing thing and then you're skipping and you're trying the next thing because it's not working, you're also lacking consistency. But consistency comes from clarity, and we'll be talking more about consistency tomorrow as we move into the two things that you really need to do in order to create that $1,000,000 marketing plan and creating that strategy around that. So don't miss tomorrow as well. Okay. So this week, I also want to say that we're having these 3 webinars, and there is a chance to win the opportunity to come on live, and we'll be streaming this on Facebook. You'll have the opportunity to promote your business, and then we're also going to do some troubleshooting as well. And when we do this, I'm asking you questions, and it really allows people to help them see what it is you do, as well as you're getting clarity. Now, one person will be selected for Friday, and on Friday we will do just a full session. It'll be recorded, and you can really see how we go through and break this down. So it'll work great for that person, and it'll also work great for all of you all to see how we do a strategy session. Okay, so make sure that you're registered on izzynallyconsulting.com so that you can be in the winning. And then you're also going to want to make sure that you've watched all of these, whether you're watching it live or replay. Okay, live or replay, you'll want to make sure that you're commenting. And then every day we're going to have a homework assignment that will follow up with what we're talking about. Okay, and that homework assignment is a call for action for you to do some work. If you've already done the work, then great, just comment. But it might give you the opportunity to think about it from a different perspective, or to dive a little deeper and get more clarity as well. So again, today we're talking about the number one thing that you need to become a successful CEO. So we're moving out of that struggling solopreneur and into that successful 7-figure CEO. All right. So things we can be thinking about, just as a side note, is where in your business can you allow yourself to start shifting into that CEO mindset? Where in your business do you have things that you've been doing that are repeatable, that you could potentially hand off to someone else or document that process? That's just a little side tip to start getting you into that CEO mindset. That's a whole nother webinar, but I just want to give you that one little tip, because that was something that was really helpful for me in the beginning, was to really start to think about it from a bigger picture. And that's where we're going with this. So the number one thing that you need to become a successful CEO is your vision and mission statement. Your vision and mission statement. But before we dive into that, okay, and we're going to go through how to create your vision and mission statement, and I'm going to give you some examples of what some of these bigger Fortune 500 companies, what theirs look like, and how you can create yours. But a little bit stepping back from that as well. You have your own business. There is a reason why you started your own business. Okay? So go ahead and comment down below. What is the reason that you started your own business, or you're starting your own business? Maybe it's to inspire others. Maybe it's to make an impact on the world. Maybe it's to have your purpose. But there generally is also that feeling of freedom and wanting to create this dream life. And if you haven't thought about that, then now is the opportunity to really, really think about that. Maybe you're leaving the corporate world to start your own business, and you're tired of what's supposed to be a 40-hour week, and it feels like a 60-hour week, and you're tired of the being woken up in the middle of the night thinking about all these tasks that you have to do. So what is it that you want to leave behind? And what is it that you want to create? Okay, and this is that journal thing. If you cannot journal it all right now, at least write down some key ideas or the questions to ask yourself, okay? So, what kind of life are you wanting to create? We don't want to leave a corporate job where we feel like we can never take a vacation to then create a business where we again feel like we can never take a vacation. We get so caught up in being the worker bee that we then carry that over with us into our business. So this is all about you as the CEO. You're creating the life that you want, your own vision, but you're also going to be creating the vision and the mission statement for your company. And again, a lot of people tend to overcomplicate this, and they tend to give themselves a million different things that they're trying to do with their business. But your business is your baby. It is. Which also means it's not you. It's a separate entity. It is your business. It is not you. And a lot of times when we're stuck in this solopreneur, we're stuck in this contractor mentality, and we're not in that CEO mindset. And so when we're stuck in this contractor mentality, we're thinking about like, how much do I personally need to make every hour? And that doesn't leave us set up for success. That leaves us stuck because we only have so many hours in the day. And we're then capping ourselves. We're also capping our business because we're not allowing our business to have the room for growth. And that's why we need that vision statement of where we're going. So notice, if you are stuck in this more contractor mentality, we need to have a bigger vision. But before we create that bigger vision, we also need to know, like, what are we personally committing to as the founder, as the visionary, as the holder of the mission statement, the holder that's setting this path and setting this vision. We think, I love these phrases that people are using are like, build your empire. Yes, you're going to build an empire. If you want a successful business that is scaling, that is making $1 million, you need to be able to have some people that can do some work for you. Unless you are that person that you're like, yes, I want to work 80 hours a week. I never want vacations. I just want to just be in the struggle all the time. Most likely that's not the case. So is it that you don't like working Fridays? So you only want to work Monday through Thursday, and you potentially could have someone else, which you don't have to get to that part, but you could potentially have someone else that's promoting you on the weekends for you. What do you want to work? How many hours a day do you want to work? Do you want to sit at a desk and be super hyper focused for 4 hours every day, and then you want to be having fun and doing social posts and just chatting with people? Are you more in it for the relationships, or are you more in it for the creation? Like, what is it that really lights you up? You are going to be the visionary for your business. You already are. But we have to establish if you have a vision for your business or not. What all do you want your business to be? For some of us, we're like, I want to create a resort, or I want to have retreats, or I want to have multiple courses going. I want to have a full consultancy agency. What is that bigger picture, maybe 10 years down the road, that we're aiming for? And so a vision statement should be, when we're crafting our vision statement, it should be 5 to 10 years away. But we're going to state it in the present moment. Okay? But let's start with, make sure you have this written down. Make sure you're going to do this work. What is it that you really want? For me, I want to take a vacation every quarter. So for me, and we get into this in the program that I teach, we work on creating our quarters. So there's 4 quarters in a year, and we plan out 12 weeks. And in most quarters, there's actually 13 to 14 weeks. But I want to take that week 13 and 14, and I want to be able to relax and do a vacation and allow myself to unwind and be able to get creative so that I can really allow myself to rejuvenate to lead me into the next quarter so that I can push hard when it means the most, but also, like that work hard, play hard mentality. And I recognize that there's going to be, that 1 or 2 weeks within each quarter that's going to be a little bit bigger for me because that's how I work when I can zone in and really get it done. But I also know that that's not sustainable for me. So you need to know what works best for you. And as I've mentioned in the group already, and if you RSVP'd to this event, you've been getting those messages in the messenger. But understanding your target market, understanding the problem that you're solving, you can also get a taste of the people that you're going to be talking to. Are you going to be talking to them throughout the day? Are you going to be talking to them in the evening? When are you really going to be working? And is that going to work with their schedules as well? So we can really start to plan out how we work so that we don't lead ourselves to burnout. And the answer to burnout is boundaries. And so in order to have those boundaries, we have to know what it is that we really want to create for ourselves. And we're going to be talking more about preventing burnout and setting those boundaries tomorrow as we're talking about planning and consistency and that plan to those 2 simple steps to create that $1 million marketing plan. Okay, so that's tomorrow. All right, and then if you haven't RSVP'd to the event, make sure you do that. That way you get those notifications and you're staying tuned. Or if you're like me, which again I teach in my program, is I am a huge Google Calendar person. I wasn't always, but I really found a way that works really, really well for me. And I block off everything, and you can put busy or available and all of that so that I don't forget things. Because when you're doing a lot, it's really easy to forget, right? Most CEOs have a secretary. Google Calendar is my secretary. All right. So the number one thing that you need to be a successful entrepreneur, yes, but CEO, is that vision and mission statement. And so I've given you a little bit of background about how to manage your own vision and how you want to work. But what we're going to be doing next, and this is the big key thing, is creating the vision and mission statement for your company, for your business. This is what's really going to set you apart and set your business apart from being just a contractor, just a coach, just another person selling products, and setting you into being the CEO of your business. And yes, whether you're a realtor, a travel agent, selling products, a coach, yoga teacher, nutrition person, whatever you might be doing, you are right now in the contractor portion. And we want to create a vision and mission statement to create you a business. I tell people all the time, if you're selling products in particular, you should have a business and the products are supporting your business, not your business is supporting the product. Because as you create your brand and your marketing, products can come and go, products can change. You might decide at some point that you no longer want to represent that product, or you want to change what products you're selling, whether you're selling it as like an MLM or if you're creating your own products. Because we adapt, we change, we pivot. I've sold products in the past, and out of the blue, suddenly they've changed some policies, and then they're saying you can no longer sell our products because you're also selling this other product. And then that portion of my company died because I had built my business around the product. So you want to create the vision and the mission so that that stands, and that whatever else you do is supporting the business. It's supporting the mission of the business. That is how you lead. That is how you become the successful CEO. So let's look at a couple, and I've got them in my little notebook. I try to type up as much as I can into my Google Docs because that's just more organized. But I am just one of those people that I still really love pen and paper and the activity of writing. So I still tend to do that and play with typing them and whatnot. But that's just me. And we all have our own little quirks, and we all have to get to know ourselves as well. So let's look at some of these top big companies such as Apple, Toyota. In the consulting world, McKinsey is a really big one. And then I also have Starbucks because I think we're all pretty familiar with Starbucks. So let's look at a company like Apple. And I use Apple as an example a lot because when I was in my MBA, that was always one that it was easy. It's really easy to break down Apple. Why? Because there's so much clarity, and their whole brand is built around sleek, clarity, organization, simple, and being this like higher end product. And people want that. They want to jump on board of that train. They want to feel more organized. They want to feel more simplified. And so that they go that direction. Now, not everyone is an Apple friend or an Apple fan. Some people like the more complexity and the more options and the more customization. And if you do, then you're not their client. And that's okay because their business is still doing really, really well, right? Because they know who their target market is. They know who they want, they know who their product is for, and they stick to that. Now, my point in that being is, you know, Apple has expanded into, how can I simplify, different things with the watch and with the iPad and with the different computer. But again, they still have their target market, and they're not going off and making a Roomba or making all these other things, but they do know how to link up with them. Because Apple keeps it simple, they keep it clear, they know what they are about. Okay? And if they started talking about, how to organize your house, well, that would stray a little bit more from what they're doing. If they started getting into a little bit of construction, or if they started teaching you about nutrition, you might start to get a little confused, and you wouldn't have that same consistent image of their brand, right? So that being said, we also need to do the same with our business. Your business is not you, okay? You are the visionary and the mission holder of your business. So every single thing that you like and every single thing that you are good at does not need to go into your business. That's you, and you're the face of your business most likely, and people want to hear about you. Like, Steve Jobs, people were interested in his life, but he didn't necessarily, everything he knew, he didn't say, oh, let me show you how to put your pants on the best way. you know like, he had his own book that was about him, but that was separate. That was about him and him as a CEO of the business. But as the business itself, that has its own vision and mission statement. And so we need to make sure that we're really, really clear. And again, that vision statement is going to be the big picture. Where do we see ourselves in 5 to 10 years? And let's make that a present tense statement. And I'm going to read you off some of these. You'll get a better idea. And then our mission statement is how we're showing up to who. What are we doing? Now, a lot of people will start to combine the vision and mission statement, but it's really, really important to have these as separate. And these should be on your webpage if you have one. I will tell you that for sure. And if you look at any corporate business site, they generally have those on their webpage because it gives people a good idea of who they're buying from. And if you're going to part with them, the saying is who you're getting in bed with. You want to know those values. Okay, so Apple's mission statement is to attract and attain customers with high valued products and services and the most satisfying ownership experience in the world. I'm sorry, that's Toyota's, right? That didn't sound like Apple. That sounded like Toyota. So Toyota's mission statement is to attract and attain customers with high valued products and services and the most satisfied ownership experience in America. Now, Toyota's vision statement is to be the most successful and respected car company in America. Do you see the difference? One was like what they're doing, and the other one was like what they want to become. Now let me get to Apple's. Apple's vision statement, so their big picture vision, what they want to do, what they want to create, who they want to be, is to create the best products on earth and leave the world better than we found it. Their mission statement, the impact that they want to have, is to bring the best personal computing products and support to students, educators, designers, scientists, engineers, business persons, and consumers in over 140 countries around the world. Okay, so one is the vision, it's a little bit shorter. The mission is who we're helping and how we're helping them. And in these groups, in these business groups, I see a lot of these business people, they have their mission, but they're not always talking about their vision. Okay? Who else do we have? Starbucks. Starbucks' vision is the premier provider of the finest coffee in the world while maintaining our uncompromised principles while we grow. Their mission is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. So they should be inspiring. These should be things that when people read them, they're like, yeah, I want to jump on that train. Like, I want to get in the boat with those people. I want to support this business. This is where I want to go, and I want to support and put my money into businesses that are like that. Okay. McKinsey, which is a consulting company, to help our clients make distinctive, lasting, and substantial improvements in their performance, and to build a great firm that attracts, develops, excites, and retains exceptional people. So they put their vision and mission statement together. And I find, I don't know if you got, when you read it, it kind of puts it all together, and it's really hard to see one or the other. It wasn't as inspiring. It was very, very dry. So we want those words that really captivate people, and we want it really, really simple, and we want it really, really clear. And the reason we're doing this is not only for our customers, but also as we become the CEO. The CEO isn't just there to lead the customers. Our CEO is there to guide the people that are all working for the same mission. So if you brought on a virtual assistant, or you brought on a head of marketing, and you brought on these people, you want to be able to really share with them what it is your mission and your vision is, so that they can also get on board on that, and they know what direction that you're heading. They know what path they're taking. And then as you're creating products, and as you're creating services, and as you're creating and making your business more robust, because in the beginning it should be very simple, then we grow and we expand and make it more robust, that we can check in with whatever we are designing and say, does this fit my vision and mission statement? It allows us to prioritize. It allows us to have those boundaries. It allows us to keep our brand within a confinement so that people really are able to recognize what it is that we do. And so as we do this, we then have those key words that we want people to recognize our brand for. So, nurturing, inspiring is something that Starbucks had said. One cup at a time, one neighborhood at a time. These words are really important. And when you have a coffee shop, any coffee shop, there's that neighborhood quality. We want to be able to sit and enjoy one cup at a time. We want to have a great customer experience. That implies that inspiration. To attract and entertain customers with high valued products. For Toyota, we would say, I'm creating this product. Let me check in. Is this really high valued? What's the rest of the market doing? Am I going to be considered high valued? Am I going to be a high ticket offer? If everyone's doing it, then how can you stand out from that crowd then to be that high ticket, high valued? What are people valuing at the moment? So the words that we're using allows us to really question what we do, because as the CEO, again, it is our number one responsibility to hold the vision and to hold the mission statement and to keep all of that in alignment. And yes, you're going to have the rest of your life going on as well. And as a CEO, you are also a person. But your job as the business owner or as the CEO of the business is also separate from your life. You want to be able to clock in and clock out of your job. No matter how much you love doing it, you have to have those boundaries as well, and your family will appreciate it. And you will prevent your own burnout, again, as we'll be talking about more tomorrow, but you're going to prevent your burnout as well. I want you to continue to love what you do. And a lot of CEOs, they take on the business as their top priority, and they will end up choosing the business over their family life. But most likely, you're starting your business because you want more balance. You want more beauty in life. You want more exploration. You want more adventures. And if you don't, that's okay too. If you love being a workaholic and having your own business allows you to work all the time and get all those ideas happening, having clarity, having a vision, and having a mission statement is still extremely necessary so that you can show up in a way that really is attracting customers and clients. They want someone that's going to be consistent. Consistency in the mind creates safety, creates trust. And when someone is very clear about what it is that they're trying to accomplish and what they want to do, that's what creates consistency. And we'll be talking more about consistency tomorrow and what that looks like and what we're doing with consistency and how the consistency is going to lead to our confidence, which is what we're talking about on day 3. So your homework today is, first off, what we first talked about was that very first foundation of your lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? How many hours are you wanting to put into your business? Maybe you're a fan of that 4-hour work week, and that's what you're striving for. You're trying to set up everything for automation, and you're trying to set up everything so that you can have people working and helping you, and then you can have that 4-hour work week. Maybe 4 hours a day is good for you. And what feels like work? What do you want more of? Do you want more of the creativity aspect, the creating? Do you want more of the talking to the clients or potential clients? What is it that you want to do most of in your business? Because that's going to help you in creating those processes and creating those frameworks and creating the automation, because you don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over all day. And again, we get into a lot of this within my program. I'm not going to sell you on it today by any means, but just things to know, that things to work on, like time blocking and prioritizing and knowing how to create repeatable services and repeatable processes so that you can scale your business. So keep in mind what it is, what kind of life do you want? How many vacations do you want? All right, we're working on creating $1 million business, and as much as $1 million business sounds amazing and it probably sounds like so much money, your take home on that after you pay taxes and everything else is more around like 300,000. And you're probably like, well, that sounds good to me too. But when you're running a business, numbers are different. And I want to get you to a multi-million-dollar business. But first we have to get to that $1 million mark. And that's our goal. That's our vision right now. And so whether you're making 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month and your vision is $1 million, that's our vision right now. But how are we going to create $1 million? What is it that our company is really prioritizing? And again, your vision is what it is that you are going to do, or what is it that you're going to be. So again, Toyota's was to be the most successful and respected car company in America. Or Apple's is the best, to make the best products on earth and leave the world better than we found it. Starbucks was to establish Starbucks as the premier provider of the finest coffee in the world. What is it that you want to be seen as, and what vision do you want it to hold? And then your mission statement is what impact do you want to create? How are you showing up for your clients, and maybe even what clients are you showing up for? You can have multiple target markets, but as I did in a previous live, which you can go back and check out, is start with one target market. Start with one and get to know it really, really well. You can have multiple target markets, but the problem that you solve should be fairly the same. Again, we're not trying to solve multiple different problems at this moment unless you're trying to expand your company. And then you might have a couple different services. Services can always change. But your company as a brand and marketing should be focused on one track. Your core offers. Okay, your core thinking. So you've got your personal lifestyle you want. And then as the CEO, what vision and mission statement are you holding for your company? And then that extra little tip that I provided today was be thinking about what are some repeatable processes that you already have. What are some things that you could easily, if you had a vision and mission statement and everyone that was helping you out understood that, what could they help you with then? How could you have employees? How could you hire someone to help you out 5 to 10 hours each week, for example, right now, if you don't already? And if you do already have someone helping you out, drop those down and inspire other people. Inspire others. And this is not a competitive community. This is a supportive community. We can all learn and grow from each other. My primary focus is I love educating people. I love giving people a different perspective. I love watching people realize that their dreams are possible. And so I hope that I can help you with that this week in our 3-day live webinar on the Millionaire Marketing Makeover. Today was the number one thing that you need to become a successful CEO. And tomorrow we're going to be doing the 2 simple steps to a million maker marketing plan. And then on day 3, we'll be doing the only thing that's stopping you from reaching 7 figures this year in 2022. Yes, it is completely possible. We need to have that big vision. And maybe you're like, I don't know if that could happen for me. Always make it where it feels possible, but just slightly out of reach. I talk about manifesting and millionaire mindset and all of these things, and we want to make it just slightly out of reach, but we don't want to make it so overwhelming and far away that it almost stops us from even trying. So allow yourself to dream. Even if I'm talking about making $1 million, that might be your 5-year plan. It might be your this year plan. It might be your 10-year plan. But then ask yourself why. Why don't you think that could happen this year? Because I will tell you, it is possible. It is possible to do it in 9 months. It really is. But it takes getting the clarity first, which is what we talked about today. Tomorrow, consistency. And then on day 3, we're talking about confidence. And then you also have that opportunity to win. You win coming on. I'm going to select 3 people to come on live with me on Thursday on day 4. And then 1 lucky winner gets a full session on Friday. So thanks for joining. And please let me know what your biggest takeaway was. Please let me know what you need help on. All right, this allows me to answer these questions and give you guidance and give you help here in this group. Mwah! I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.